Right now, an architect in Nairobi can generate 40 building layouts before their coffee gets cold. That's not a demo, that's Tuesday. And if you're a structural or civil engineer reading that sentence and feeling a little uneasy, good. You should be paying attention. Here's exactly what's happening, and exactly what to do about it. In this video we're covering two things that are actually one story. First, how generative AI is changing architectural design across Africa, right now, with real tools and real numbers, not hype. Second, what that shift actually means for your engineering career, and the specific, learnable skills that keep you essential instead of exposed. Stick to the end, because the second half is the part most videos on this topic skip. Let's start with the numbers, because they're bigger than most people realize. The generative AI architecture market was worth around $1.5 billion globally in 2025, and it's on track to roughly quadruple by the end of the decade. That growth isn't speculative, it's being pulled forward by actual firms adopting actual tools. Independent industry surveys now show that close to half of architecture professionals are already using AI tools somewhere in their workflow, with another quarter planning to start soon. That means within a design team of 4 people, 2 or 3 of them are probably already touching an AI tool this month, whether their firm has an official policy on it or not. What's actually happening under the hood is called generative design. Instead of an architect manually drafting one layout, testing it, and redrawing it, they describe constraints, building size, sunlight exposure, budget, number of units, and the software generates dozens of viable configurations in minutes. The architect's job shifts from drawing every option to judging the best option. That's a real shift in what the job even is. So what does this actually look like on the ground, in an East African context? A few tools are doing most of the heavy lifting right now. Autodesk Forma, previously called SpaceMaker, is used at the earliest stage of a project, when a firm is testing how a plot of land can be used. It analyzes sun exposure, wind, and noise, and generates optimal massing options before a single wall is drawn. TestFit does something similar for feasibility studies on residential and mixed-use sites. Once a concept exists, tools like Midjourney and Adobe Firefly generate concept renders and mood visuals in minutes, useful for client presentations long before a full 3D model exists. And Vera's plugs directly into Revit or Rhino, so a designer can generate rendered variations of a model they're already working in, without exporting anything. For sustainability, which matters enormously given East Africa's climate and energy costs, tools like Cove Tool Analyzer designs energy performance and daylighting automatically. Here's the part that matters most for you. None of these tools were built with Kenyan, Ugandan or Tanzanian building codes, local material standards, or local climate realities baked in. They're trained on global, mostly Western, data. Bandwidth and subscription costs are also real barriers here in a way they simply aren't in a firm in London or Dubai. Which means the East African engineer who understands both the AI tool and the local code, local materials, and local site conditions isn't being replaced by these tools, they're becoming the only person in the room who can actually use them safely. Now here's where this stops being someone else's story. You might be thinking, I'm a structural or civil engineer, not an architect, this doesn't touch me. It does, for one simple reason. Every AI-generated design an architect hands you still has to pass through structural analysis, code compliance, and buildability review, and it's arriving at your desk faster and in higher volume than before. If an architect can generate 40 layouts before lunch, and even 5 of those get shortlisted for structural feasibility checks, your team's intake just multiplied. The question isn't whether AI is coming for engineering, it's whether you're set up to handle the AI-accelerated design work that's already arriving from the studios you work with. This is the part to actually act on. The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report found that employers expect close to 39% of core workplace skills to change by 2030, and AI-related skills are rising faster than almost any other category. The same report is clear on one point. Globally, more jobs are being created by this shift than destroyed. But that net gain only reaches the people who reskill. If you don't, you're not part of the net positive, you're part of the displaced side of that number. So here are 4 specific, learnable skills, not vague advice. 1. Get hands-on with at least one AI-assisted design or BIM tool, even if you're not the one generating the concept. Learn how Vera's or Forma actually output data, so you can review their outputs intelligently instead of being handed a black box. 2. Learn to use Claude or ChatGPT for documentation and first-pass code cross-referencing. This won't replace your regulatory judgment. Nothing built today understands East African code the way you do, but it will cut hours off report writing and let you spend that time on the calculations that actually need your expertise. 3. Get comfortable with digital twins and AI-based structural health monitoring, even at a basic level. This is becoming standard on larger East African projects, and understanding how sensor data feeds back into a live model is quickly becoming a baseline skill, not a specialty. 4. Build one visible project that proves you've done this. Take a real or sample brief, run it through an AI designer analysis tool, document what it got right and where you had to correct it, and put that right up in front of your employer or clients. That single artifact does more for your job security than any certificate. None of this requires you to become a programmer. It requires you to stop treating AI tools as someone else's department. If this gave you a clearer picture of where things are headed, subscribe. This ALFA Digital Systems breaks down exactly this kind of shift twice a week, specifically for engineers and design professionals across East Africa, not generic global content that ignores our context.